Confirming to Fox News that U.S. forces struck dozens of Iranian military targets on Karg Island throughout the night.
So this as we are less than 12 hours away from President Trump's deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face obliteration.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst is live in Tel Aviv with the very latest. Hey, Trey, what can you tell us?
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. Fox News can confirm overnight the United States hit dozens of targets on Iran's Karg Island. This is the island responsible for more than 90% of Iran's oil exports. Fox's Jennifer Griffin says the targets included bunkers, radar stations, and ammunition storage. As this was taking place, the clock is ticking as it relates to that deadline President Trump laid out Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, just about 12 hours from now, before Iran must make a deal with the United States, or the president says he will order strikes against Iranian power plants and bridges. This is what the president had to say yesterday from the White House.
We have a plan, because of the power of our military, where every bridge in Iran will be decimated by 12 o'clock tomorrow night, where every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again. I mean, complete demolition by 12 o'clock. And it'll happen over a period of 4 hours if we wanted to. We don't want that to happen.
I want to pull up here the demands for the United States and Iran. You can see here some big differences. The U.S. is calling for the dismantlement of Iran's nuclear facilities, zero enriched uranium, missile constraints, the Strait of Hormuz being opened, and an end to Iran's support of groups like Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. Now, the Iranians are calling for guarantees as it relates to no further attacks, full sanctions relief, war compensation, a payment system for the Strait of Hormuz, and finally, the removal of regional U.S. bases. Now, the president told me over the weekend that Iran isn't even negotiating anymore about their nuclear program and that they've conceded already on many issues. They said that a variety of different points the Iranians came to the table, but they have lost that leverage, according to the president. With this talk of diplomacy, we're also learning more about the daring rescue that happened over the weekend to save a stranded U.S. airman. High-level U.S. sources telling Fox News that while the airman rescue was ongoing, CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper directed a strike on an IRGC headquarters in an underground facility in Tehran. B-2 bombers were using bunker buster bombs, the same weapons used during Operation Midnight Hammer to obliterate that IRGC headquarters. This just gives you a sense of how kinetic the activity is in Iran at the moment. The United States maintains the ability to operate freely in the skies of Iran. And while the B-2 bombers were dropping bombs on a target outside of the Iranian capital, south of the city of Isfahan, there were hundreds of U.S. Special Forces rescuing their stranded colleague. Guys?
I'm sorry, Trey, there's some breaking news on Truth Social.
Yeah.
Ainsley, do you want to read that?
Sure. So Donald Trump just posted this. A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionary, wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight. One of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world, 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran.
So this is clearly an escalation. As everyone knows, the president has an 8 p.m. deadline. He talked about the power energy plants being targets up the rail stations as well. We know the notice from the Israeli, the IDF, have told the civilians do not get on the railroad because America, the Israelis, we don't target civilians. There's only one side that is doing that. But the president is making it very clear that these options are still on the table. He does not want death and destruction, but the deadline is the deadline, and it doesn't seem like he's going to move it.
No, and Trey Yingst still with us live from Tel Aviv. Trey, what's your reaction to this new post?
Look, I spoke with President Trump over the weekend, and I can tell you that he's not bluffing as it relates to targeting Iran's energy infrastructure, power plants, and bridges. He was very serious. If the Iranians are unwilling to make a deal, there will be extremely heavy consequences. The president in this post on Truth Social, though, says a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. And so certainly questions to ask the president today about the context of this post on Truth Social and possible plans for the United States and what the list of targets may look like and the type of munition that would be used against the Iranians if he moves forward with strikes against the regime. Again, this is the final moment here, an off-ramp for the Iranians. The president, it appears in this post on Truth Social, is once again putting the most amount of pressure possible on the regime in order to encourage them to make an agreement. The sense that I got from the president is that he doesn't want to have to take this action, but he is willing to do it if the Iranians are still unwilling to make a good faith deal. I do want to just give you a little bit of additional information that I'm getting from Israeli sources about the energy program in Iran. A senior Israeli defense official telling me just now the Islamic regime's greatest vulnerability is energy. They describe the energy system in Iran as the Achilles heel for the Islamic Republic because roughly 50% of Iran's GDP is based on their energy program. And this is part of the reason that the president is focusing his threats on the energy infrastructure inside of Iran. The president understands that when it comes to the Iranian regime, the two things that are keeping this regime afloat are their energy infrastructure that is used to funnel money to the IRGC and the weapons that are currently being used against U.S. forces and allies across the region, and the oil infrastructure. And as Fox can confirm, overnight, dozens of U.S. strikes targeted Karg Island, where 90% of Iran's oil exports are located. This gives you a sense that the United States is looking once again to send a final message to the Iranian regime. The president on Truth Social just moments ago